Hi, this is Olga from hbody.com. In this sewing tutorial, I want to show you how to shorten sleeves on a winter coat with lining. But you can use this method for any sleeve that's lined. And also, if you are making a coat or a jacket and want to know how to sew lining, this tutorial will be useful for you, because the process is almost the same if you are altering the sleeves of a lined coat or if you are just sewing lining to a new coat you are making. So, here is me in this coat before I did the sleeve alterations. Obviously, I cannot wear the coat like this. Somehow store-bought coats never have sleeves that are the right length for me. They always have to be shortened. So here is the step-by-step tutorial on how to shorten coat sleeves. Try it on. See how much you need to cut. Simply fold the sleeves at the desired length and mark the new folded line with a pin. Check the new length when the arm is bent. Also, the coat should be buttoned up. Always measure twice because you can only cut once and there is no way to uncut it. Turn the sleeve lining side out. Look at the side seams. Usually manufacturers leave an opening in one of the sleeve's side seams for turning the coat right side out. I see that this sleeve doesn't have it. Let's try the other one now. Okay, here it is. I can see where was the opening. Take a seam ripper and rip the seam. Be careful, the lining fabric is usually thin, so it's quite easy to make a hole in it while ripping seams. Keep the opening large enough so you can turn the whole coat through it. Once the stitch has been removed, turn the sleeve wrong side out through this side seam opening. You can turn the other sleeve also through the opening later on. Now you can see what's inside. The manufacturer stitched together the sleeve seams, as you can see in this video. rip these two. You can see now how the lining is stitched to the sleeve. It's best to use the same finishing method that was used by the manufacturer. Lots of ripping. In my case, I had to remove also the sleeve tab with a button. In the end, we will have two separate sleeves, one from the main fabric and another one from the lining. We have to cut it now. How much to cut? We mark the new folding line in the beginning, and we now have the pin there that marks the new folding line. But we need to have the same seam allowances as we had before. So measure this distance and find out how much you have to cut from the bottom of the sleeve. I used the fold line left from the previous fold to measure. Mark the horizontal cutting line. To do the cutting faster, pin the sleeve edges together. And cut using sharp sewing scissors. The coat fabric is thick, so regular scissors are not going to cut it. If you had a tab, it's time now to sew it at the new length. Okay, I stitch the side seam of the sleeve. I have to cut the same amount from the lining. Now comes the tricky part. How do we connect those sleeves from the main fabric and from the lining? First of all, turn the sleeve the way it should be. Align the sleeve side seams. There are two in this case, and in most cases also. Now put your hand through the opening, match the lining and the sleeve at one side seam, then hold them together and pulling them through the opening in the lining, turn the sleeve inside out again. Pin them together. You have connected two seams together at one point now. Now line up raw edges of the coat and the lining and continue pinning all around. The second pin goes to the second side seam. I prefer to make a stitch on the main fabric side. As you can see, I put lots of pins, but it may help to baste them together because the lining fabric is usually slippery. Let me show you this process again. It's very easy and fast, but only if you know what you are doing. So I have pinned together the sleeve and the lining, and now is the time to stitch it. Stitch using matching color thread. Seam allowances are 1 cm or 3/8 of an inch. Choose a correct needle for your sewing machine and for the fabric. Choose correct stitch length. It shouldn't be too small. I made mine 3 mm. Go slowly. Try to keep an equal distance from the edge. It's not very comfortable to sew. You should stop frequently. As you can see in the video, I am used to sew over pins, but they are really thin for lightweight silk chiffon, and my sewing machine doesn't even notice them. I was taught to sew like this, but they say it's dangerous because if the needle hits the pin, it can go straight to your eye. So be careful and take the pins out as you sew closer to them. After stitching, arrange the sleeve and the lining. It's better to turn the sleeve on the right side and try the coat on, but I didn't film it. Carefully make a new folding line and press using correct settings of your iron. It's wool in my case. You have to make a new permanent fold. You will notice that the lining sleeve is a bit longer, so it can be folded over the stitching line. This overlap would affect how the sleeve hangs and would allow some ease for movement. The lining shouldn't pull the sleeve bottom part. Do the same with the other sleeve. You can work with it through the same opening. You have to make sure that both sleeves are cut the same and remain identical length. Machine stitch the lining side seam opening closed, or you can do it by hand sewing also. Now you have to secure the sleeve seams at the bottom. A quick sewing tip now. I like to start sewing without a knot. For this, thread your needle with double thread. Start sewing and insert the needle in the loop. You will have the loop on the other end of the thread. See the loop? The stitching is going to be secured, but there will be no knot at all. Just sew a few reinforcing stitches by hand, inserting the needle right into the seams, so your stitches are not visible. Use the proper thread color. It has to match the color of the coat. You will have to do the same with all other side seams. There are 3 more. the sleeves are shortened and have exactly the same finish as the original sleeves. You can see that this kind of alterations is not complicated, and I hope even beginner sewist can do this correctly. If you like this tutorial, press like, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel for more sewing tips, tutorials and inspiration.